Hey everybody, I'm your anime pal Johnny, and this is my top 10 list for most iconic anime scenes. The scenes in this list are based on emotional impact, cultural significance, and personal taste. Fair warning to y'all, this video is full of spoilers, so please feel free to skip any if you don't want to get spoiled. I hope you all enjoyed this list as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Without further ado, on with the list! Alright, coming in at number 10, the Chimera reveal from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Fullmetal Alchemist is fundamentally rooted in dark subject matter, exploring such themes as bringing the dead back to life and human sacrifice, but episode 4 really took the show to new levels of insanity. Our heroes Edward and Al continue their quest for the Philosopher's Stone, and their journey leads them to the library of a local state alchemist that specializes in the study of chimeras. With Colonel Mustang's recommendation, they seek out this alchemist in hopes of learning about the process of creating chimeras with alchemy and possibly using that knowledge to restore Al's body. When they get there, they meet a little girl named Nina and her very large dog Alexander, and the four of them become fast friends. They also meet Tucker, the state alchemist Mustang told them about, and he happens to be the little girl's father. Tucker goes over his research and explains that most of his experiments have ended in failure. Only one of his subjects was able to speak, but the only thing it said was, "I want to die." After hearing from Nina that her father could lose his job if his research results don't improve, Ed and Al take it upon themselves to cheer her up. Toward the end of the episode, Ed and Al meet with Tucker but notice that something is missing. They see Tucker's newest research experiment and are amazed by its ability to speak, but it doesn't take long for Ed to figure out the gruesome secret behind it all. This scene must be one of the most disturbing and heart-wrenching scenes in anime history. Tucker's desperation and lack of ethics led to an unspeakably tragic conclusion, forcing Ed and Al to question the legitimacy of alchemy as well as the implications it has on human life. How far will you go? How dirty will you allow your hands to get? Ed and Al are forced to ponder these difficult questions and take a good long look at themselves in the mirror. Fullmetal Alchemist was created by Hiromu Arakawa and ran in Square Enix's monthly shonen Gangan from 2001 to 2010. 2 anime adaptations were produced, including the first Fullmetal Alchemist series in 2003 and the second titled Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which premiered in April 2009. Next at number 9 is the death scene in episode 3 of Madoka Magica. The infamous death scene during the climax of episode 3 is shocking and frustrating and really changes the overall vibe of the show. What makes this scene so pivotal is all the build-up leading up to it. Basically, the creative team pulled a fast one on everybody by setting up the show to act and feel like any other run-of-the-mill magical girl series, but we were all deceived. The lighthearted tone of the first 2 episodes was all just a ploy to lower the audience's guard as episode 3 moved in for the kill. Nearly halfway into the episode, we start learning a bit more about the character in question, and we start noticing that things are not quite what they seem. The camera shots begin to have an ominous feel to them, certain motivations are revealed, and some characters begin to ask questions concerning some of the darker themes the show will eventually explore in later episodes. Even the background looks more eerie and twisted. All these factors create a sense of tension and foreboding. This is the episode that really allows the show's horror element to shine. When it happens almost without warning. The viewer's false sense of security is crushed in one fell swoop, and the expectations built up from the previous episodes are completely dashed. Like another show on this list, this series is very much a deconstruction of its genre as well as a critique on modern society's views on what we should expect from each other, as well as ourselves. This scene was no different. We as the audience expected everything to turn out alright in the end, but Madoka Magica had something else in mind for its viewers. By subverting genre conventions in such a cruel yet novel way, we got to see a fresh and unique take on the Maho Shoujo archetype. This scene took a genre that's normally relegated to family-friendly white noise and elevated it to a sophisticated, thought-provoking commentary that questions our expectations, our sense of duty, and the meaning of sacrifice. Wala Magi Madoka Magica was created by Magica Quartet, produced by Shaft Animation Studio, and premiered in Japan on TBS and MBS in January of 2011. Next at number 8 is Sword Art Online, the start of the death game. SAO may not have originated the death game trope, but it certainly popularized it in a big bad way. We're introduced to our protagonist Kirito as he delves headfirst into the world of a highly anticipated VR game called Sword Art Online. We don't know anything else other than our heroes looking to enjoy all that this new reality has to offer. Kirito learns about the intuitive combat system and even makes a new friend along the way. But after having his fun and getting the hang of the game's controls, Kirito discovers that he and his friend Klein are unable to log out. Kirito and Klein, along with everyone else in the game, all gather in the town square and an ominous figure appears before them all. The players' avatars are disabled and everyone sees each other as they appear in the real world. Akihiko Kayaba, the creator of the game, reveals himself and explains to the players that no one can leave until all 100 levels of the game are cleared. Anyone that removes the VR headgear they're wearing in real life will die, and anyone whose HP reaches 0 in the game will also die. The grand reveal of Kayaba's scheme and the premise of the show shocked and thrilled audiences the world over and has become one of the most memorable plot reveals in anime history. It was interesting, unexpected, and well executed. It also combined the death game and isekai genres in a clever way, creating a foreboding sense of tension and desperation, while also exciting viewers with pulse-pounding action pieces taking place in picturesque fantasy landscapes and dungeons. Since SAO's broadcast in December of 2012, other popular death game titles such as Alice in Borderland, Darwin's Game, and Kakegurui were produced and others will likely continue to be made. Although shows like Fate Stay Night and Gantz paved the way for SAO, I can't help but think that Kayaba's revelation was certainly a contributing factor to the continuing success of the genre. Sword Art Online was originally a light novel series written by Reki Kawahara and was later adapted into anime form by Aniplex and A1 Pictures in 2012. Coming in at number 7, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Shinji activates Unit 01 for the first time. In Episode 1, Shinji Ikari is summoned by his estranged father Gendo for reasons unknown. Misato, an agent of NERV, meets with Shinji and drives him to their headquarters to report in to his father. We learn that Shinji hasn't seen Gendo since he was a child and they don't get along. Shortly after they arrive, Gendo orders Shinji to pilot Unit 01, a massive artificial human and mankind's last resort in the fight against the malevolent angels. This scene is iconic and impactful because it represented a complete subversion of themes and tropes from mecha shows that came before it. Typically, our hero inherits a powerful robot from his genius father and willingly fights the enemy out of altruism or some sense of duty. Shinji, however, refuses the call to adventure. He asks Gendo if piloting the fearsome robot was the only reason he was called in, and Gendo tells him to either get in Unit 01 or leave. We as the audience see Gendo for what he is now, a scumbag of a father who only sees his son as a tool to further his own goals. While Gendo is currently humanity's best chance of defeating the angels, he also has very little regard for the human lives he's sending into harm's way. After Shinji refuses both his father's and Misato's orders to pilot 01, Gendo summons Rei to sortie. An injured girl is wheeled out on a gurney and Shinji is horrified after seeing the lengths his father will go to get his way. A tremor from the angel's attacks outside knocks Rei off her gurney and Shinji rushes to her side, blood covering his hand as he tries to support her weakened body. Shinji cannot allow her to take his place, so he tells everyone that he will pilot Unit 01. Instead of the heroic and altruistic heroes of the past, our protagonist is reluctant and resentful, and he's afraid of fighting, just like anyone else would be in his situation. But we also see that, unlike his father, Shinji feels sympathy for others and prioritizes Rei's well-being over his own comfort. Untrained and unprepared for what is to come, Shinji faces the enemy alone. Up until this point, audiences had yet to see such a grimly tragic yet exciting and sophisticated take on the genre, and that is one of the many reasons why this show has stood the test of time and continues to inspire new creators to this day. Neon Genesis Evangelion was directed by Hideaki Anno and was produced by Gainax and Tatsunoko. The series broadcasted on TV Tokyo from 1995 to 1996 and later spawned several feature films including The End of Evangelion and the rebuild of Evangelion movies released between 2007 and 2021. Coming in at number 6, Naruto uses the Rasengan for the first time. Naruto starts learning the 4th Hokage's special technique under the tutelage of Master Jiraiya in episode 86 of the anime, but our young hero first uses it against the crafty Kabuto in episode 94. While protecting Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin and the only doctor in the world who could possibly help his injured friends, Naruto surprises everyone on the battlefield by unleashing his now signature skill, a feat no one believed he could pull off. What makes this scene so iconic is the sheer emotional weight that it carries. Leading up to this point, Naruto and Jiraiya asked Tsunade to return to the Leaf Village. Unbeknownst to Naruto, Jiraiya was tasked with bringing Tsunade back to take her place as the new Hokage, and learning this fact enrages Naruto. How could an irresponsible gambler and drinker possibly take the seat of the recently passed 3rd Hokage who gave his life for the Leaf Village? Annoyed with Naruto's ranting, Tsunade calls him out and they clash outside of the bar. She catches a glimpse of what looks like the 4th Hokage's special move, the Rasengan. and chastises Jiraiya for attempting to teach the boy something he'll never be able to master. Naruto makes a bet with Tsunade. He'll learn Rasengan in a week, because doing so will bring him closer to achieving his dream of becoming Hokage. Tsunade is taken aback by Naruto's words and is reminded of two very important people who once shared his dream. Against her better judgment, Tsunade wagers her necklace in the bet, something she would never do under normal circumstances. Fast forwarding again to Naruto's confrontation with Kabuto, the boy fulfills his promise to Tsunade and wins the bet, renewing the hope she'd lost after losing her loved ones. Not only is the Rasengan Naruto's most iconic move, it's also the starting point for Tsunade's redemption arc. Mastering this challenging A-class skill represented the fulfillment of one's promises, and Naruto is a ninja who always keeps his word. It also represented the theme of hope emerging from despair, a theme that Naruto practically embodies in this fight, and is one of the reasons why he is such a beloved character. Naruto was created by Masashi Kishimoto and was first published in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump magazine in September of 1999. The anime was produced by Studio Pierrot and premiered on TV Tokyo in October of 2002. Next at number 5 is My Hero Academia with All Might vs. All for One, United States of Smash. In episode 11 of the anime's third season, number 1 hero All Might squares off against the ominous All for One in a fight that would change the lives of everyone involved as well as the state of superhuman society in general. All Might once again faces his deadliest enemy but is severely handicapped by his time limit and waning power. All for One is terrifying and devious, but he too suffers 9 mortal wounds that greatly minimize his formidable strength. After shielding a citizen from one of All for One's attacks, All Might's power is nearly gone. But with the help of other heroes safeguarding the civilians and the memory of his master guiding him onwards, All Might summons every bit of energy he has left and channels it into one final blow. United States of Smash. This iconic moment was essentially All Might's highest and lowest point in the story. On the one hand, he was able to triumph over unspeakable evil, but doing so resulted in his symbolic death as the world's symbol of peace and his rebirth into his role as the story's sage. With the former symbol retired, his quest to defeat the story's ultimate adversary must now fall to our hero Deku. Creator Kohei Horikoshi infuses the passing of the torch theme into much of his writing, but it is heavily utilized in the scene itself as flashbacks of All Might's master Nana, the previous holder of One for All, spiritually gives her successor her wisdom and a final push forward, allowing All Might to come out on top. Given his penchant for naming special moves after American cities and states, it was fitting that United States of Smash was the moniker chosen for All Might's ultimate finishing move. My Hero Academia was first published in July of 2014 in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and the animated series was produced by Bones and premiered in Japan in April of 2016. Next at number 4 is Sailor Moon, Usagi's first transformation. In the pilot episode of Sailor Moon, Usagi Tsukino is introduced to the audience as a ditzy crybaby slacker, the least likely person one would suspect to be a hero. She rescues a cat from some pestering children and soon learns that this cat is more than she seems. After spending some time at a jewelry shop after school with her best friend Naru, the pair part ways and Usagi takes a nap in her room. Luna, the cat Usagi saved earlier, sneaks into Usagi's room and reveals that she can talk. Luna also presents Usagi with a magical brooch that allows her to transform into her alter ego, Sailor Moon. After transforming, Usagi senses that her friend Naru is in trouble and races over to save her, just as Naru is about to be killed by a monster posing as the young woman's mother. Usagi arrives in the nick of time. Although afraid and unsure of herself, Usagi announces that she will save Naru and punish this monster in the name of the moon. Sailor Moon may not have started the Mahou Shoujo genre, but the show's writing and beloved transformation sequences certainly popularized it and ultimately contributed to anime's rise in the West overall. Up to that point, countries outside of Japan hadn't seen many shows with powerful young female leads in an action show that appealed to both girls and boys. Thanks to Sailor Moon and her fateful first transformation, other shows in the genre like Cardcaptor Sakura, Precure, and Madoka Magica were able to find an audience among multiple generations of fans. Sailor Moon was created by Naoko Takeuchi and was first published in Kodansha's Nakayoshi magazine in December of 1991. The anime premiered in March of 1992 and ended in 1997, with several films to follow along with the release of the Sailor Moon Crystal series in 2014. Alrighty, we're coming down to the last 3. Next on my list is One Piece, with the Straw Hats' declaration of war against the world government. During the NES Lobby arc, Nico Robin was taken captive by Spandam, CP9, and the Marines of the world government. The iconic scene occurs in episode 278 after Robin recounts her painful past and rebukes the Straw Hats. She fears they will suffer because of her association with them, and she also fears that they may betray her, just like everyone else has in her past. Before joining the Straw Hats as the ship's archaeologist, Robin spent much of her life running from the law and distrusting others. But her time with the Straw Hats changed her. She experienced bonds she hadn't felt since the deaths of her mother and her friend Saul long ago, and now the people closest to her were in jeopardy. As Robin and Spandam look upon the Straw Hats standing atop the courthouse below, neither one could fathom the words that came out of Luffy's mouth. He orders Sogeking to shoot down the world government's flag, effectively making the Straw Hats the most wanted pirates in the world. As Luffy and the crew stand together in defiance, he shouts out to Robin, "Say you want to live." And for the first time in a long time, Robin finally understands it's okay to believe in those words. With the resolute faces of her crewmates awaiting her response, Robin loudly cries out the wish she silently held in her heart all this time, "I want to live." This scene was a deeply moving and pivotal moment for the Straw Hat crew as it solidified their bonds with one another and demonstrated to the audience the lengths our heroes were willing to go for friendship and for their beliefs. Creator Eiichiro Oda launched One Piece in 1997, and the manga currently has 103 tankobon volumes in circulation. The anime was produced by Toei Animation and premiered on Fuji TV in 1999. It's one of my favorite scenes ever, and with writing like this, it's no wonder that One Piece is one of the longest running and most beloved anime airing today. Second from the top on the list is Dragon Ball Z, Goku's first Super Saiyan transformation. Goku's best friend Krillin is murdered right before his eyes during their tumultuous battle with Frieza, the most powerful being in the known universe. Krillin had already been revived by the mythical Dragon Balls once before, which barred him from being resurrected once more. Believing that his friend was gone for good, Goku's unbridled rage and sorrow broke something within him. He experiences a spiritual death and rebirth, trading in his innocence for power, triggering his epic transformation into the legendary Super Saiyan. This powerful form first debuted on March 19th of 1991 in chapter 317 of the manga, and then a month later in the animated series in episode 95. Transformations in anime are nothing new, but Goku's striking golden hair and blue eyes thrilled audiences and captured their attention like nothing before, forever cementing Dragon Ball Z's place in anime history. The Super Saiyan transformation would inspire countless derivations, domestic and abroad. Dragon Ball Z would eventually become the most ubiquitous anime around the world, generating $30 billion since its inception in 1984. Coincidentally, creator Akira Toriyama once mentioned that he developed the transformation as a way of simplifying the production process to ease his assistant's workload. Who would have known it would lead to one of the most iconic anime scenes the world has ever known? Dragon Ball ran in Weekly Shonen Jump from 1988 to 1995, and the Dragon Ball Z anime, produced by Toei Animation, originally aired on Fuji TV from 1989 to 1996. And finally, coming in at number 1 is Attack on Titan, the death of Eren's mother. Carla's death is without a doubt the inciting incident instigating Eren's quest for vengeance on the Titans. When we're introduced to Eren, we learn that he clearly senses something is wrong regarding the guards' careless attitude toward the Titans and the citizens' passive lifestyle within the walls. We can see that he has a desire to change things, but we also know that he is incorrigible, inflexible, and ill-equipped to see those changes through. When the colossal Titan opens a hole in the wall, everything Eren warned Hannes about in the beginning of the episode comes true, but that was just the stepping stone leading to Eren's unfortunate transformation from child to avenger. The real catharsis takes place as Eren witnesses the brutal murder of his mother, watching helplessly as he flees in shame. He is small, weak, and incapable of preventing the horrifying violence that takes Carla's life, a grim experience that ultimately convinces Eren to give up his innocence and possibly his humanity, pursue his war upon the Titans. This scene is crucial to setting the tone of the story and developing Eren as a protagonist. Carla's tragic passing haunts Eren throughout the series, and his thirst for vengeance leads him further and further down the road to ruin. Viewers around the world have been entranced by this heartbreaking yet compelling scene, which I believe was instrumental to the show winning the Tokyo Anime Awards Animation of the Year award in 2014, and it certainly contributed to the 110 million manga copies sold as of the making of this video. Attack on Titan was created by Hajime Isayama and ran in Kodansha's Besatsu Shonen magazine from 2009 to 2021. The anime was produced by Wit Studio and premiered in April of 2013. We covered a lot of ground today, and although there are a lot of amazingly iconic scenes out there to choose from, these are the ones that made my list. What scenes do you have on your lists? Please share your choices in the comments below. By the way, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and to all my fellow fools and dreamers out there, Johnny.